SEC championship game. Georgia wins 28-7. And man, what a domination defensively for 4 quarters that football game was. -3 yards rushing in that one, 3 sacks, pressure on every single passing down. Every single passing down. Now, you should note that I got home last night about 9 o'clock. I got done watching Big Ten football by about 11:30. And then I, was hanging out being a normal person until about 12:30. Then went to bed, woke up this morning, and now we're here. Okay, so I have not watched the film. I'm not going to sit here and act like I've had the chance to watch the all-22 film. Hell, I bet the SEC championship game wasn't uploaded until about 1 o'clock in the morning anyways. I have not watched it. But it looked to me like I thought they brought 4 or 5 or 5 or 6 every single passing down. I felt like Georgia pressured or blitzed. Pressure is 5, blitz is 6. I felt like they pressured or blitzed on every passing down that there was in that football game. Guys, if you watch Alabama football passing concepts like really closely, if you study the film, if you watch us on this network, they are 7 yards and beyond. It's either 7 back to 5 in a hitch, like hook up curl zone window, or they're driving the ball down the field, right? Or they're driving the ball down. There's no now screens in that offense. There's no swing screens now. If they're trying to attack the edge, they'll jet sweep, but that's about it. There's no ball out now. Everything's 3-step. Nothing's a half hurdle or a half hitch quick game. There is none. It's traditional passing. It's NFL passing in that offense. So I felt like the change just off watching TV copy, the 19-minute, mashup that I try to give myself right before I come in and do these Sunday shows if I don't have a lot of time, as I didn't today. What I've noticed off the TV copy was defensive back depth. I felt like defensive backs, even if playing zone, were camped at like 6.5, heels at 7, and they were just kind of catching. And I feel like that disrupt the I got a now window Ty Simpson type of football. Like if you watch Ty this year, it didn't really matter if you got pressure, which everybody got pressure. What mattered is if you took away primary windows, if you made him hold the football. If you could make him get to the top of his drop and not having to answer now, you could get him because they're a horrendous offensive line in terms of pass protection, and that's been a problem all year long. I felt like the entire box, the box in the extended area for Georgia's defense was playing downhill for 4 quarters. And that means if I'm allowed to play downhill in the box for 4 quarters, do you know what that means, guys? That means they were strippity straps in the back end. They have to be. If I can feel as if I can get downhill and I can play like this as a first and second level of defense, buddy, everybody in that third level is hip to hip with whoever they are guarding. It has to be. Again, don't need to see the tape to know that. Whether it was man-to-man, whether it was zone, whatever it is, Georgia strapped them for 4 quarters, okay? I felt like personally, if they couldn't get the ball to Ryan Williams now, either behind the line or a little flare screen or a little arrow into the flat, if they could not get him the ball now and have him make 4 or 5 people miss, there was no offense. There was no offense. And I think that's, I feel like every photo I have, okay, I shoot from the back of the opposing offense every time Georgia plays. So if they pressure, I know, I could see it. There was maybe 3 dropbacks, maybe 4 dropbacks all game where that dude wasn't either rushed off his spot, hit, have to be thrown now, pressured, flushed out of the pocket, whatever. I mean, it was everybody. Dinkins got him. Ja'Cory Thomas got him. Gabe Harris got him. Quintavious Johnson pressured him. Chris Cole pressured him. Raylan and CJ pressured him. Christian Miller pressed him. Xavier McLeod pressed him. Like, everybody got home. And honestly, I felt like everybody got home in the first matchup. If you really watched it, everybody got home in the first matchup. SOB just had the answer by the time he got home. That was the difference in the second attempt at that football team than the first. You want to talk about cracks at them? That was the cracks. I think the crack was the pattern matching. I think the cracks were the pattern identification. Yeah, y'all probably got better at stunts. Y'all definitely have gotten better as a defense because you've gotten older. A lot of young football players. But the cracks, like getting a second opportunity, that was the offensive structure, the passing concepts. Y'all strapped that. I would imagine we're going to see a lot of bunch from Alabama because that's what they do, and a lot of we going to sort that bunch really, really good right now. Watch this. Bang. I got him. I got him. I got him. All unspoken. Over top, inside, outside. Bam. Trap the flat. Get it done. Absolutely get it done. They got it done on the defensive side of the football. And they did it with Rayshawn Jenkins playing over or instead of Jonel Aguero. Jonel Aguero got a wrist problem. He had a big old hornet's nest on his hand. And they figured, hey, might as well play the guy with two hands. Thought that was a good idea. They gave him a series. The shark was swimming. They gave him 2 series. Shark was eating the small schools of fish. They gave him 4 or 5 series. Shark was swimming in the deep ocean. And they left him out there. And guys, we've talked about this with special football players at Georgia for a long time. All right. And everywhere, really. All these really, really highly touted, which is all of the roster, 4- and 5-star football players that are true freshmen. Kirby Smart I don't know if it's like this everywhere else, but I know it's like this with Kirby. And I'm sure it's like this with DeBoer because they got a lot of freshmen playing too. Hey, just see if he can swim. It's deep waters out here, but see if he can swim. And he starts swimming. Sharks are sharks, man. Like they pop. They like natural football players, and they felt this about that Dinkins kid from day one. If you are any type of subscriber to any type of Intel network like we have over on patreon.com/Brooks Austin. But it was very obvious they felt like this kid was not only like going to be good ball player, football instincts, just quote unquote, just gets it. You ever heard that? That was what Dink is. That's what Dink is. Okay. And they have talked about him from day one. By the way, summer enrollee. Could you imagine what that kid would look like right now if he was enrolled in December of last year? If he had been on campus for 12 months going on 13 instead of 6 months going on 7? You know what I mean? The difference on that one would be. Ja'Cory Thomas played great too, as led the team in tackles. Ty Simpson needs a lot of help. Zayden Walker, I forgot him in that mix. Ty Simpson needs a lot of help, and he needs it now. Everybody talks about their offensive line. They're horrendous at running back. They are absolutely horrendous at running back. And I never thought that's what it would be. I never thought that's what they would have going on. Now, Jam Miller's banged up, out of this football game, didn't play, which I thought that was the absolute disguise of disguises from a reporting standpoint. They thought they was going to trick the media into, is he available? I thought he got carted off against Auburn. I thought it was like, damn, what? Oh, ow. I thought it was like one of those. So I didn't expect him to play. Now, here's where I was wrong in my analysis on their roster. I thought Daniel Hill was going to be special. It is very clearly way too much for him right now to be the guy. He can't quite handle that. The amount of times that guy has been picked apart in pass protection the last month of the season, it's cost them a lot of opportunities. It's cost them a lot of deep field work. It's cost them a lot of opportunity to keep their quarterback upright and with this side of the pocket. Absolutely atrocious in pass protection. And then they have to bring AK Deer in, who I know AK has a tremendously bright future for this football team, as long as he can do it before Xavier Crowell starts to do it for this football team, by the way. But AK Deer comes in there, immediately busts an assignment, and that's the play that Ty Simpson has to slide down on. And it's like, what the hell do we do? What do we do? We got, like, even with, like, bro, Jam's winnable. Jam ain't, like, all conference good. Jam's just, if we play him, we know we're not bad at the position right now. The other guys are not good enough. And that's crazy to say about an Alabama roster. Now, Justice Haynes' departure probably hurts. Like, Richard Young not being what we thought he might have been out of high school probably hurts. There's a lot going on there. There's a lot that we could probably explain away. But whoo, not good enough. Not good enough at all. Right there. I know they're a banged up football team, and we're going to talk about that at the end of this because both teams were. But that offensive line is not good enough either. No, offensive line is not good enough either. I thought Jeremy wasn't really himself. Body language pregame was laborsome. You know what I mean? I thought he was not himself apart from that one screen pass that he took to the door. But they weren't like, guys, that is a guy they lean on. They use him in every form and facet. They used him like a standard, just JAG, just another guy, wide receiver yesterday. That's not who he is. It's not who he is at all. So I don't think that's, I thought they covered Horton. Did Isaiah Horton create a yard of space on Saturday? I don't know. I don't know if he did. Everything was hard. Shit, they had a 91-yard scoring drive that a third of which was personal fouls and pass interferences and DeMello Jones being from Swainsboro and being a dog. You know what I mean? Like, hey, look, somebody else highlights like, do you pull him? Hell no, he's strapping. Hell no, look at him. He's playing ball. Hell no. Let him be a dog. Because you're going to wonder, man, golly, that 195-pound safety sure does stick his nose in the run game. How's Kirby Smart get those guys to do that? They're lunatics. They're crazy people. All of them. Everybody who's ever played defensive football in the SEC ain't no bitch. So if you say something cross, they got to get up in your face. That's just the way it is. I'm sorry. Now, you pull them off to the side. You yell at him. You MF him on national television. You slap him on the butt and say, go get him, boy. Come on, man. Let's go. Go get him, boys. Go. Come on. You know what I mean? We need it. We need that anger. We need that aggression. That's the only way we end up doing to Bama what we did to them as a defense. And I'm saying the collective we as a football brain and a football mind here. -3 yards rushing, over 4 quarters. 8 of 11 offensive possessions from Alabama concluded in 4 plays or less. My Lord. Georgia's offense. Let's talk about that side of the ball. I first and foremost, I think Alabama's defense is great. I think we have 2 really, really great defenses in Ohio State and in Oklahoma. And I think we got 3 great defenses in Indiana, Alabama, and Georgia. And I'm teetering with Notre Dame here. I'm teetering with Notre Dame. They're in that classification, okay? But I thought Alabama did everything that they could defensively to at least stand in and continue to take punches. But how many times can you get punched in the face? How many times can, and that's the problem with Georgia's offense. Georgia's offense may not be bells and whistles. It may not be able to score 40 against one of these defenses I just mentioned, okay? But no matter what, you got to stand there for 4 quarters to get punched in the face. And 41 carries against I think they're a great defense. And they're without LT Overton. And we're going to talk about that in the end. I'm not looking away from injuries, guys. We're saving injuries for then. And we're not even going to save the whales, but we're going to talk about these injuries. But what was I talking about? 41 rushes. You got to stand in. You got to stand in against those body blows for 41 carries and 141 yards. That's what it was. It wasn't always pretty, but it was physical. And when you are that dedicated to running the football, when your quarterback is involved in running the football, when you get that many cracks at it because your defense is playing that great, eventually you're going to spit them. Eventually you're going to start spitting runs. 19-yard run from Nate Frazier, 18-yard run from Chauncey Bowens, 17-yard run from Nate Frazier. Oh, here's 9 yards from Josh McCray. Oh, now they're moving the ball. Now it's 14 plays, scoring drive. You know what I mean? Like that is the hard part about this football team. Obviously, stopping the run is hard enough when they have an offensive line like that, when they have ball carriers like that, when they have a quarterback dedicated to run the football physically like that. It's hard enough to stop the run. Then we start talking about this extension of the run game, right? We start talking about all that, all that Zachariah Branch, all that screen pass, all that work in the flat. And now we start to do this, and we keep getting done to this. You know what I mean? Like, we talked about it on the Thursday show going into this week, and we simplified it real easy. Got to do this. Got to stretch them. Got to make them play the 53.5, right? And then you start punching them. Then you can start punching them in the mouth. Well, they opened with, like, we going to get downhill at your face. And then it was like, good luck with this, too. And then it was like, oh, here comes the fake screen. We call it Fox around here. Lost and lucky. There's 20. You know what I mean? Like, it's hard. It's hard to stand. And then they start capitalizing, right? Like, I thought that wasn't necessarily like, oh, wow, look at all the yardage Georgia put up on Saturday. No, it was, look at the play calls in the red zone. My God, look at the situational awareness from the offensive coordinator up in the box. Guys, they block a punt. Shout out Cole Spear. They block a punt. Shout out Kirk Benedict. They block a punt. Shout out Cash Jones. They block a punt. And guess what? 3rd and goal, 23 personnel. Josh McCray at the eye. Rob at King fullback. King is offset, strong side. That's what we call that. Okay. Y'all don't even know I formation football anymore, let alone split eye. Okay. We got King right, Trey out of 23 personnel on 3rd and goal. They loading up. They think run. There go Rob right into the flat. I mean, he was going to be so butt naked wide open if he didn't fall. He damn near tripped and fell and was still naked. He would have been butt slap naked open had he not fell. Tremendous play calling right there. But not only that, guys, they get an interception from Dalen Everett. Ball at midfield, right? Ball at midfield. How about 14 plays, 7.5 minutes, 7 minutes, 44 seconds if my memory serves. Walked it on them. And the more and more I watch football, I don't know about you guys. Of course, hey, hats off to the run game. Hats off to the quarterback. Hats off to the offensive line. Hats off to the offense when you go 14 plays, 65 yards. But also, hats off to the defense. You made them go 14 plays. You must have been doing something good to at least keep them in front that long and make them just. But really, shout out to the coordinator. You stacked 14 positive plays, big dog. Hell, maybe overcame some negatives in the middle of that. Maybe overcame some 2nd and 12s. Maybe converted on some 3rd and 8s. Hell, elite, right? Like, hey, great play call after the punt. Defense gave us short fields, 21-yard, bang, touchdown. Great job. But really, that one's 14 plays after a pick, 7.5-minute drive, up 14-0, 8 minutes left in the second. They ain't moving the ball. Hey, we'll take a quick minute to give a shout out to our friends over at Sleeper. What a great time to be here on this network this year, but also a great time to be with our friends over at Sleeper. Go over to Sleeper today, the #1 place for daily fantasy and prop plays. Sleeper Picks is a real money product that connects friends over picks. Choose 2 to 8 of your favorite players from pregame, live, or even across different sports. Pick more than or less than the predicted stats. It's that simple. On Sleeper, you can get up to 100x payouts, share with your friends, and get rewarded today. Use promo code Brooks, as you see on the screen, on Sleeper and get 100% deposit match up to $100. Again, that's sleeper.com/promo/Brooks. Terms and conditions apply. Boys, as you know, we're about 28 minutes at the time of this ad read from the kickoff of NFL Sunday. So go ahead, run over to Sleeper right now. I'll give you permission to leave the stream actively. Go over to Sleeper, get a play in right quick, and get paid. We appreciate those folks over there at Sleeper. Again, that's promo code Brooks over there on Sleeper. Whew, that's a great start to a football game. By the way, the touchdown, I think the second touchdown actually comes in the second quarter because it's in the end zone that I took a photo of. The photos, if y'all watch the photo album, that photo of the Dylan Bell touchdown, you can see him progressing. You can see the window open up on the dig. He gets his feet set. There is no space at the top of the dig. But if there's no space at the break point, there will be space after the break point. Do we know why? Because the wide receiver's breaking first. Y'all get that? If there's no space at the break point, there will be space after the break point. All right, so that's what we got to know as quarterbacks, especially in the red zone. He gets his eyes on it, sees no space, sees it even leaving. Wham! Immediately rips it into the second window, touchdown, Georgia up 14-0. And then it's just, hey, how can we finish this football game off? Beautiful rip. I think that cut, we've talked about it all year long. Gunner is tough as shit, man. Tough as shit. I don't think there's a football team that's hit him harder at Texas last year. I don't know if there's a football team that's hit him harder for 4 quarters than that, though. That dude. I mean, there's a play. There's a play. I don't know what point in the game it was, but there's a quarterback running. Tim Keenan, full sumo, like all limbs stretched out. I ain't gonna touch a thing on the ground. I'm gonna let all 340 land on this kid's left shoulder. And Gunner kind of like, you can see him grimace on the ground. And then he does this thing where he almost does like an up down. Like when he's hurt, you can see him kind of grimacing, and then he'll pop right up, and then it'll just kind of run to the huddle, and it's like it didn't exist. Like it didn't happen. Tough ass dude. Like I said earlier, I feel like Alabama's defense did everything they could, just got left on the field way too long. Let's talk about injuries, because this is real. Okay. This is real. I'm going to read off some names. And I think all of these names that I'm about to mention, and correct me if I'm wrong, tell me if I'm wrong, Alabama fans. Add names if I forgot them, because I'm sure I did. Add names if I forgot them, I'm sure I did. LT Overton, Noah Thomas, Ethan Barbour, Kyron Jones, Jam Miller, Josh Cuevas, Drew Bobo, Jordan Hall, Kelby Collins. Those are 8 football players on both sides of this are these rosters that I think were at some point either starters or like in the rotation, like meaningful football players had to have them. Like they're in our rotation. They're part of our game plans. Gone. That's not to mention all the dudes that were out there biting the towel, playing through injury. Okay. I mean, a plethora of football players going through football injuries. Like they're warriors. They're out there banged up football teams. And I don't know if you watched not only Kirby's post-game press conference, but his entire post-game circuit. I don't know if you watched this, but you need to be worried if you love that football game. If you love the SEC championship game, I do. I love covering that football game. I think it's a beautiful venue. I think it was great and beautiful at the Georgia Dome. It's awesome at Mercedes. It is one of the best college football games that there is. And I think they might be getting rid of it. I don't know if y'all paid attention, but Kirby obviously talked about they're going to 9 next year, right? That was Alabama and Georgia's 9th conference game this week. And they played them in a row, most of them, okay? Maybe they got a week off. Maybe they got Charlotte. Maybe they got Northern Illinois. It doesn't matter. But they ain't going to get them next week or next year. It's 9 straight. Hell, if they keep the conference title game next year, you got to play 10 straight. You got to play 10 straight weeks. Maybe you got a non-con the last week of the season like Georgia does. You get Georgia Tech. But most of you guys, or South Carolina, Clemson, most of you guys, if you go play for a conference title game, you got to play 10 straight. Right now, we already got 9. All right. If you play in a conference title game. And right now, we're going to ask Alabama, the conference championship game loser, to not only lobby their ass off to go play in a college football playoff, and they're going to have to lobby their ass off. It's not guaranteed at 12 o'clock that the regular season number 1 seed is an automatic get in to the college football playoff. So not only are we asking these guys now, go play 9, go play a 10th. If you lose in the conference championship, there is a chance that you have to lobby to even get in. And by the way, you're going to have to play 17 football games. because we have 12 regular season games, okay? 9 of which are now conference games. You got to go play a conference title game. And then you have to go on and play a college football playoff. By the way, almost guaranteed to be expanded to 16. We don't have rosters built for this type of retention or type of beatdown. Roster maintenance cannot survive these wars. So you better be either lucky or have the baddest Warriors. That's it. At least down here. Now look, it's awesome. It's awesome that Ohio State gets to sit Carnell Tate and Jeremiah Smith against Rutgers in the middle of December. That's awesome. That shit ain't going to happen in the SEC. That's not what's going to happen. You don't get to sit starters against Mississippi State until you earn the right to beat the shit out of them. But they can still beat Arizona State, the team, by the way, that beat that beat Arizona State, the team that beat Texas Tech, the team that BYU's coach said is the best football team in the country. The worst team in this conference, maybe Arkansas, you might want to argue. The worst team in this conference that, by the way, still has NFL football players and still has big physical football players and still has world-class athletes and still has players that couldn't play at other SEC football programs that now can play for them. By the way, they beat Arizona State. They're awful. Everybody laughs at Mississippi State. They're good. So we're not comparing. I don't even think we're comparing apples to oranges. I think we have a conference that has apples. We got a conference that has 5 oranges and a bunch of freaking limes and lemons. That's what the Big Ten is. The Big Ten is 5 really good oranges, maybe 6, depending on whether or not Penn State gets their shit back together. And then, they're an 18-team conference, 12 lemons and limes. So, yeah, y'all play 9 conference games. The SEC's about to. But there's a good chance that 7 of those 9 games are against ranked opponents. That's insane. Sure, there's a lot of people in the chat wanting to make fun of Bama Brooks for picking Bama. Thankfully for me, that type of football analysis gets to end on that one, I think, right? Like the last 3 times these football teams have played, I've come to the microphone and said, hey, look, I think Georgia's a better football team, but it doesn't matter. It does not matter. It never matters. I'm just going to pick Bama. I'm just going to pick Bama until I feel like that analysis doesn't count anymore or it doesn't matter. And I'm not saying all the demons died yesterday. That's not what I'm saying. But they whipped that ass. They put belt to ass for 4 quarters. Not, hey, we won by 14, but it was a pick 6 late in the national championship game. No. They put belt to ass. That was the first time in a football game in my lifetime that I watched that Georgia was up 21 points on Alabama. Never had. Hell, I don't even think they'd had a 2-score lead apart from the pick 6 in the national title game against Alabama in my lifetime. Normally, it is Georgia crawling themselves out of a hole, trying to figure out how to get back against Bama. So that right there, that's impressive. Now, I'm wrong. Ha, ha, ha. Nana, nana, boo, boo. Again, we opened the show telling you, I don't take big, long, joyful victory laps when I'm right. I'm not going to sit here and wallow in my sorries or what do you call it? Wallow in my self-pity because I was wrong. I was wrong. And I'll get to go cover the Sugar Bowl because I was wrong. Dang. I'm assuming it's the Sugar Bowl. I mean, if you're Ohio State, you definitely pick the Orange Bowl, right? You want to stay in that Eastern time zone? Just a thought. Or Indiana, excuse me. If you're Indiana, you want to stay in that Eastern time zone. I do worry about the future of that SEC championship game. I thought they basically were hinting at they're going to get rid of it. If you listen to Kirby Smart's interview with the SEC Nation and SEC crew, him and Tim Tebow are talking about how they're about to get rid of that. And I hate that. I texted Will Compton Saturday morning. He asked me he texted me, said, how you feeling? And I texted him, I said, I find a real hard time wrapping my head around a one-dimensional football team beating Kirby Smart and Glenn Schumann twice. But if anybody can do it, it's Ty Simpson. He couldn't do it. I don't know how you could. That guy's got no help. None.